Am I the asshole for not letting a neighbor borrow my tile saw because it belonged to my boyfriend? Alright folks, today we have a wild one from Reddit's Am I the Asshole? Someone assumed a woman couldn't be the one who owns the tools. Yeah, we're going there today. Let's break it down. My boyfriend and I have a bit of an untraditional relationship. I, female, am the builder, fixer, etc. And my boyfriend isn't really good at that type of stuff. My garage is filled with tools that I have collected over the years, a lot of expensive tools. A young couple just bought the house across the street from us. The houses aren't too far apart, and I guess our new neighbors have seen into our garage when my boyfriend and I hang out in there. The husband came over to introduce himself, and he briefly nodded at me, yet he shook my boyfriend's hand and was friendly to him while introducing himself. It made me feel dismissed TBH, like I'm not his equal. He mentioned they're having to retile the kitchen and do a bunch of other repairs, as the house was a bit of a fixer-upper. The elderly lady had lived there for 55 years before dying recently. He said they were a bit broke after buying the house, and he is having to do the repairs himself and learn how to do a lot of this stuff. My boyfriend kind of just smiled and nodded his head, because he hates DIY. He finally asked my boyfriend if he could borrow his tile saw and maybe a few other tools, and maybe my boyfriend could give him some YouTube suggestions. He offered to give it back like he borrowed it, and he said he'd buy him a case of beer for the trouble. This is the point where my boyfriend mentioned that all the tools in the garage belong to me, and that he has no clue how to build or fix anything. The guy was surprised but gave me a half smile and said, "Oh, I guess I should have asked you then. What do you say? Offer still stands." I was kind of annoyed, and I told him that maybe another man in the neighborhood can help him, and I'm just a woman, so what do I know? I was admittedly very snarky. My boyfriend kind of thinks I was needlessly an asshole to our new neighbor. I think the guy should have apologized for his incorrect assumption before asking me to borrow my tools. I hate when men assume my boyfriend does the man stuff, and I'm supposed to do woman stuff. It happens occasionally, which, by the way, who asks someone they don't even know to borrow a tile saw? Tile saws aren't cheap, especially not the one I own. Am I the asshole? My boyfriend and I aren't really stressing over it, but I just wanted an unbiased outside opinion. Edit. So many people are saying, how did he disrespect you by making assumptions? If it was just the assumption, I would have probably been nicer, but the fact he wouldn't even shake my hand and was barely willing to look at me made me feel like I wasn't even in the room. He was so friendly to my boyfriend, yet it was like I was invisible until he wanted to ask me for my tools. He was all, "It's so nice to meet you," and incredibly chummy to him, yet barely acknowledged my existence. Many of you are saying it might come across as flirting with another man's woman to be friendly to me. First off, I'm not his fucking property. Second of all, a handshake and saying, "It's nice to meet you," isn't exactly fucking groping me and slapping my ass in front of my boyfriend. It's just called basic fucking manners, which many of you don't have apparently. Lastly, it doesn't hurt you to not make assumptions about other people. Your penis won't fall off if you ask, "Oh, which of you maybe works in trades?" So was OP too harsh? Maybe a little bit, but honestly, I get it. When people dismiss you and then suddenly need you, it's frustrating. And that snarky comeback? Kinda legendary. Probably didn't win her any points with the new neighbors, but sometimes you gotta let people know. What do you guys think? Was she justified or did she take it too far?